Good morning, YouTube. Today we're going to talk about the F40 and our progress on buying one.
So are you recording all of the nefarious activities?
If you're new to the channel, my name is Dan, this is my garage, and this channel is all about the supercar ownership experience, buying and selling them, maintaining them, DIY work on them, and today we are talking about the next car. Well, it's not really a project car, but it's going to need some work, but it's an F40, okay? So we're talking about an F40. Fred is trying to buy an F40. And let me tell you, it's been very fascinating trying to find the right F40. As of this point, we are currently aware of about 26 F40s that we could find. The vast majority of those are not openly on the market. So a lot of these cars we can't tell you details about because we either couldn't get details without signing non-disclosures, or we had to sign non-disclosures, so we can't tell you about the details of them. With me today is Omar, and Omar found the car that we're currently trying to buy, so Omar's gonna tell you some cool stories. Hi, Omar.
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing?
I'm all right. Trying to like juggle and balance the thought of helping someone buy a super expensive car in the middle of like a financial collapse and meltdown is just kind of like weird.
It's surreal, right?
It is a bit surreal, yeah.
I had probably about 40 people send me cars. Obviously, most of them were duplicates. And you personally dug up about six.
Six that I sent you.
Six that you sent me. Unique cars that were off the market that no one else found. In fact, no one else has still found any of these cars. So I was like, damn, you went to town. So tell us what you did.
Yeah, so the first thing I'll just go ahead and say up front, because I'm sure like a lot of your viewers have seen me on your channel before with the Viper. Oh, hey, it came off. This was not some inside job.
Yeah.
We didn't already have a line on an F40. I literally just saw the video get posted the same as everyone else, where he was saying we'll pay someone $5 grand to find an F40. And I literally just thought to myself, well, this seems like a lot of fun, so let me go get to work and see what I can do. So what I know about a lot of these cars, a lot of times, not just the F40, but I think cars in this sort of like class or category, is just that people who have them don't necessarily go out and list them. To Meg's point that she brought up in the live that you guys did, you're not exactly going to go find them on like autotrader.com or anything. And so with that said, my initial search did start there, but I didn't bother sending you any of the ones that people had probably already found on Google, just because, you know, putting two and two together, I'm sure you're getting a lot of these as it is. The funny thing was, one of the ones that was a listing for DK Engineering for that one that was like 900,000, that's not actually a for sale listing. That's DK Engineering posting a "we want to buy an F40" ad. So that's, I think a lot of people missed that. They just saw F40 $900,000 and sent it like, oh hey, have you seen this? It's like,
yes,
well,
I got that sent at least 10 times.
Yeah, it's like, hey, read the ad. Like, they're actually looking to buy an F40 in that ad. They're not selling one. So the first place it started was, you know, I called a lot of Ferrari dealerships and just asked them if they had any in the dealership, or if they had any that were in for service, and they knew owners that maybe were willing to part with them. That was kind of where the first thing that I did was just like hitting up the dealerships, asking them if they had contacts or like a book of business and could get a line on an F40. So that was kind of step one. Some of those guys were super helpful, like Ferrari of Austin, Ferrari of Houston, and Ferrari of Beverly Hills were like very cool people to talk to and very helpful and informative, just descriptive and like what they probably could and couldn't do. But what I realized was that like the hunt probably wasn't gonna happen fast enough. Like, I just think like there's something about a sense of urgency that is not necessarily present when people are selling cars that are like this expensive. They don't really care one way or the other whether they get sold or not. And contrary to popular belief, despite, you know, all the economic meltdown stuff happening, the F40 owner is not exactly like the waiter at a restaurant who just got laid off of his job or something, you know what I mean? Like this guy's not really sweating like selling this car one way or the other. So there was a guy I talked to in Pebble Beach named David. He managed to produce a lot of cars that were not listed. This guy just has like this wild book of business of like, you know, people that he's bought and sold F40s to and from over like the span of 20 plus years. And so he managed to send me like 10 or more cars by himself, like, and these are all unlisted cars. The main reason I didn't end up sending you a lot of them, just so that your viewers, I guess, get a good idea of it, is a lot of these cars are in the upper echelon of like the price tag. Regardless of whether it's US spec or European spec, if you find a car that is like sub 5,000 kilometers, has like immaculate service history from the time the car was made until now, and the paint's original and blah blah blah. It's Classic K certified, which again is like the stupidest thing in the world to me once I learned what that is and how that works. And this is also why it's dumb. I'll just explain to the viewers why it's literally idiotic. That 458, for example, that is sitting right there, or even this F430 that is sitting right here, for example, you could go get the car Classic K certified, and all that means is that the person who looked at the car when the certification happened can certify that the stuff on the car is original and the numbers match and the paint's original and whatever else you need to get that little gold star from Ferrari. Now, once you get the Classic K certification, you could literally go out, wrap the car, put a dumb wing on it, put some really ugly wheels on it, and do whatever else, like, you know, mod it with some really shitty eBay exhaust. I don't even know if they make eBay exhaust for Ferraris. But
they do.
Like, oh, they do? Okay, all right. So there is eBay exhaust for Ferraris. So yeah, you could basically go, you know, ruin your whole car. And if you have the Classic K certification in your ad for the car, you could be like, it's Classic K certified. So it literally means nothing in the grand scheme of
and by the
things.
way, you have to pay Ferrari a bunch of money.
It's a lot of money. It's like on average $5,000 to $7,000, like just based on what I've seen to get the certification done. So if you're like a really big fan of getting gold stars for no reason and spending $5,000 to $7,000 on them, by all means, go ahead.
Participation award.
Yeah, exactly. But so that was like kind of stupid. The way that I actually ended up finding like productivity, like how we found this specific car, I can tell you is, you know, one thing I thought of just as a kid, when I thought of like my dream cars, like Lamborghini Diablo, Dodge Viper GTS, which I have, like that's my ultimate dream car. The F40 is up there, like NSX, RX-7, Supra, like there's a lot of like 90s cars like that people consider to be halo cars, and I think my favorite cars are probably the same as a lot of people out there. But what I thought was like, okay, well look, I don't know F40 owners, but I know a lot of Diablo owners. So I just started hitting up Lamborghini Diablo owners that I knew and asking them, hey, do you know anyone with an F40 that may be willing to sell it? And that actually ended up being way more productive than anything else I did. Nearly every Diablo owner that I got in touch with at least sent me back like one person who I could talk to. Oddly enough, the person who we're not allowed to say anything about it still, so I'm just gonna like stay totally quiet about it. But one of the Diablo owners that I messaged on Instagram actually ended up working for a car brokerage. So he works for a brokerage now, basically, that deals in nothing but like really, really top-end exotic cars and stuff. And they were like, well, my partner might know an F40 owner, and he ended up knowing an F40 owner. The car is not in America, we can tell you that much. That was sort of how we found this specific car. The ones that I didn't send, just so you guys know why I didn't send them, there were people who wanted like 1.7 million. There was a guy in Florida who has a like triple-digit US spec car with like all the paperwork and everything. That guy said he had rejected offers for $2 million on that car, which makes sense because you're talking about the time capsule. Like this car belongs in like a museum or a bubble, sort of an automobile. To people asking about non-red F40s, there is a lot of like hoopla back and forth between whether or not they were all red or not red. But based on talking to like dealerships, F40 owners, and just like random people in general, what I came to find was that there's probably about 12, give or take, cars that had left the factory not in a red. And I happened to find, I found two of them. So there are two cars in Florida that I found. One was white, one was red. The guy claimed he had papers from like Modena where the cars were made showing that they were actually painted white and yellow from the factory. That guy said he had also rejected offers like north of $2 million for those cars. So there was a lot of cars I just didn't send in because I was like, okay, well, these are probably well above the bill. In terms of price tag.
Yeah, because we didn't want to spend more than 1.5.
Yeah, I know. I knew 1.5 was sort of like the top end of the budget. The good thing is we found a lot of cars that were really clean for like 1.3. Like that kind of seems to be
that's like the number.
For anyone out there who's trying to buy an F40, what I can tell you is like any decent clean car with like the paperwork and even Classic K and whatever else, assuming the car is already in the United States. I know Jay Leno's Garage had an episode where the owner of the F40...
David Lee,
Yeah, David Lee was talking in that video saying, you know, an example this clean would fetch like 1.8 to 2 million. Whether or not that's like the case or not, like again, you're talking about the smallest things making the biggest differences in price tag on these cars. So like anything that's, you know, triple digits, yeah, expect to pay probably 1.8 to 2 million. If it's even sub 5,000 kilometer, like you could very much so expect that to be $1.5 million car, $1.4 million car perhaps. I did find quite a few in that range. It seems like, you know, if the cars have like give or take 10,000 kilometers or more, maybe some spottiness in the service history, you can probably get down to like 1.2, 1.3. If the history's like super spotty, if they have like no paperwork, or if it's a situation where like the car's maybe been resprayed because the paint's notoriously thin on those cars, like,
or modified.
Yeah, or yeah, mods too. Mods make a big deal. So like a lot of these cars went to Japan at some point, and like were actually driven, tracked, like raced. I found like several that had either like very poor maintenance history, no maintenance history, like lots of suspension modifications, lots of
brakes,
like like brakes,
wings,
paint work, wing, canards, like what else, like aftermarket seats, aftermarket steering wheel. So there's a lot of little, and I think what people don't realize is like this one side view mirror, like side view mirror on an F40 is like $8,000. Stock wheels on eBay, you can go look it up on eBay right now. So stock wheels on an F40 will fetch anywhere from $16,000 to $25,000, which is just like bonkers for the average person, I think, to think about. Yeah, with that being said, if you're talking about these little tiny discrepancies in this car, like that ultimately ends up being the difference between, you know, maybe a $1.5 million price tag that is very well justified versus like a sub $1 million price tag. So you could save the cost of like 2 single family homes on your F40 purchase if you find one that's a little bit spottier in history. So that was sort of like I guess the gist of the whole process.
Yeah, just so you know, we've figured out that just having the car get repainted probably affects the value of the car somewhere around $50,000 to $100,000. It's crazy shit. Okay, so another fascinating thing that Omar had to deal with is when you talk about people of this kind of caliber, you get a wide variance of personalities. So you were telling me some funny stories. Tell me about this.
Yeah, I will do my best to depict some of the conversations that I had. Any similarity to people in real life, living or otherwise, is purely coincidental. So I'm just gonna like do my best to kind of give you guys a rundown on some of these conversations that I had. But one of them went something like this: you're looking for an F40. Okay, well, what does he want? US spec? EU spec? I mean, what's an acceptable range of mileage? 5,000 kilometers, 6,000 kilometers, 20,000 kilometers? I mean, does he care if the car is in America or not? I mean, are you even a serious buyer, buddy? Huh? I mean, do you even have the money to buy this car? Does your client even have the money to buy this car? I mean, don't waste my time, all right? So that was kind of what one of them started out as. That guy actually got really nice. He got really cool after I checked him a little bit, but like that was how one of them started. Another one went something like this. It was like, yeah, listen, look, Omar, I got plenty of cars, all right? I got plenty of cars, all right? I got Lamborghini Murciélagos, I got SVs, I got Diablos, I got Countages. And you want to know why I like the Lamborghini more than I like the Ferrari? You want to know why? Because I can drive the car, all right? I can drive the car. Ferraris, you put 1,000 miles on them, you got to spend 10 grand, 15 grand, 20 grand every time. You know how many miles my SV has? Huh? You want to know? 25,000 miles I got on that car. That car is brand new. It's like 2 years old. But look, I got an F40. All right, I got one sitting around. Is it for sale? No, not really. Would I take 1.7 million for the car? Maybe, probably. Yeah, I would. So look, if you guys serious about buying the car, put them in touch with me. 1.7 million. That's my asking price. All right, I'd be willing to let it go. And listen, all right, I just bought my kid an engine. All right, Ferrari engine. Costs more than your whole house probably. And listen, my son is so lazy. He's too damn lazy to work on the thing. I'm like, son, get to work on the damn motor. It's worth 200 grand, all right? So listen, look, if he wants to buy the car, do I have one? Yes, I do. Is it for sale? No. Would I sell it? Yes, I would. So look, just tell him to call me, all right? That was another one of the conversations in a very paraphrased sense. And again, all these people were real nice people. So if you're watching this video, I'm not doing it to make fun of you whatsoever. It was just a great time talking to you and learning about these cars, and thank you for bestowing the knowledge on me. But I had a conversation with the guy who was in the EU. He may have been Russian or like from the Eastern Bloc or something like that, but that conversation was like kind of similar to something like this from what I remember. Listen, look, Omar, if somebody's trying to rob me of the car, I'm not trying to sell it, okay? I mean, I understand COVID-19 bullshit is going on, but I'm not trying to lose money on this car, okay? Several years ago, I paid 1.6 million. I'd probably let the car go for maybe 1.6 million. So have I made money on the car? No, I have not made money on the car, okay? But if he wants to buy it, maybe I would be willing to talk about it, okay? I'm open to the conversation, but I don't want anybody knowing that I'm selling this car, okay? They need to sign papers to say that they will not tell anybody who I am, where the car is, what the car is, nothing, okay? I want nothing on the internet or bullshit. So just tell him if he's serious to give me a call. put me in communication with him, and I will gladly talk to him. But listen, I'm not trying to get robbed on this car, okay? If somebody else wants to go lose their money because of COVID-19, they can go lose their money because of COVID-19, but I'm not going to lose money on this Ferrari, okay? So you tell them to call me. So that was like I think that was a good gist of like the most interesting conversations that I had. Yeah, it was a wild 3 days of cold calling people. So
I would say you must have been on the phone nonstop.
it was a lot of cold calls, a lot of, hey, this guy gave me your information, he said you may have a line on getting one of these cars, or you may have one of these cars. It was just a lot of back and forth like that. So
So I'm laughing about Omar's story. So we were talking a little bit more about how in reality, like he was saying, all these people ended up being very nice, and I get like a lot of their concerns. Like, you don't want to have, if you own one of these cars, you don't really want people knowing where it is, who owns it, that sort of stuff. It's a liability. And also, like, if you're one of the broker or dealerships that have them, I'm sure you get people all the time just tire kicking like stupid crap. So I get like being a little bit defensive and like, can you really afford this before you get into it kind of thing. They probably get those calls all the time. But here's where we're at today. As of this point, we have an offer letter that should be signed by the time this video is published. So we haven't signed it as of this exact moment, but by the time this video is out there, it will be signed. We will have a deposit down on this car, and we're going to be doing a PPI on it. The car is in the UK, as far as we know. We can say that, right?
Thereabout. It's close to the UK.
Somewhere close to the UK. It'll be coming from the UK, so it is not a US car. It is a Euro spec. It was originally in Japan, and then ended up in the UK. Or I guess it was originally in Italy, then Japan, then the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what we know about it. It's fascinating because when you do a search on the VIN, obviously there's no results because it was never in the US. So it literally says nothing about this car. This car is in the lower, I'm going to say lower 15% for cost for these cars. So it's one of the cheaper ones on the market because it doesn't have a super good history. It does need a major, and it does need new fuel bladders. So once this car gets here in the US, we're going to be doing a major on it and replacing some fuel bladders, and we're going to film it. We're trying to make the arrangements for that to happen, and we're going to make sure that you guys get to see that. So that will be pretty awesome. I don't think there's been a whole lot of people working on these cars. We're going to do a bunch of filming on it. It's already been modified. It's already got some aftermarket goodies on it. It's pretty badass. I can't wait to show you guys what it looks like. Unfortunately, I can't yet. We can't show you the exact car because then you can figure out which car it is by doing like reverse Google searches and whatever. So that's where we're at. Hopefully this thing will be in the US within a few weeks. Fingers crossed, okay? We're getting close. We're getting close. So this was legit from the start. I told you guys this is legit. So assuming we get this car, Omar's getting $5 grand. Congratulations, Omar.
It's like the most fun $5 grand I will have ever made in my life, assuming the sale goes through without a hitch.
I think we should give it to you all in ones.
Oh, that'd be, yeah, we can make a video, dude. Of
like have it full of like 2-3 suitcases.
Oh yeah, that'd be hilarious. I'm down. That'd be great, dude. Walk into Chase Bank with like 2 briefcases of ones.
Chain to your wrist and everything.
Yeah, like handcuffed to my wrist and like walk in and like drop them on the table.
Like wearing dark glasses and.
Yeah, like a COVID mask. Like put glasses on, like suit up, like walk in with ones.
I think we have to now.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
All right,
I'm down.
You guys think we should do that? Pay them all in ones? I think so. All right. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. We have giveaways. So if you are a member of this channel, or if you're signed up to my email list, or if you bought any of my merch, you're automatically entered for a chance to win. We've got the slip blow scrape guards. So go to bit.ly/NGS scrape. Check those out. Also use the code NGS10, get 10% off. We also have the new Element fire extinguisher. So go to elementfire.com, use the code NGS10, pick up one of those. Or go to Carbonio and use the code NGS10 and get 10% off. They have carbon fiber bits, including no drill front license plates, which are pretty awesome if you need one of those. All right, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to be doing a ton of car stuff. You're going to want to stay tuned. It's going to be sweet.